inventory. Don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, rust proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
On this episode of What Not to Do, brought to you by
Mike Scott Plumbing. If water runs through it, we do it.
I love vacations, but it's good to come home.
Is the pool overflowing?
We don't have a pool, and even if we did, it wouldn't be on the second floor.
Oh.
I told you before we left to turn off the water main.
I thought you said take down the weather vane.
We don't have one of those either.
Yeah, I was wondering why you said that. It does make more sense now.
Okay, genius, don't just stand there. Cut the main water off.
Okay, I'll go get the chainsaw.
Wait, what? No! What do we do when there's a plumbing issue?
Oh, I got this one. I'll be right back.
I said no chainsaw. Shut the water off and call Mike Scott Plumbing.
Of course, I definitely was not going for the blowtorch.
Uh-huh. The number should be etched in your memory, but just in case, 866-314-4443.
Okay, got it. 866-314-4443. On next week's episode of What Not to Do.
Really? A mariachi band?
Whether you're building it up or knocking it down, get it done, rent it now. Sunbelt Rentals is here to make your job a little easier. Our knowledgeable staff will help you find the right equipment for any job, big or small. Did you know that Sunbelt Rentals carries heaters, air conditioners, generators, lighting, traffic control, and so much more? So whether you're building it up or knocking it down, we've got the equipment you need. Get it done, rent it now. And right now, for a limited time, you can have it for less. Just by mentioning this ad, if you rent it Friday afternoon, you can keep it the whole weekend and only pay for one day. But this is a limited time offer, so stop into Sunbelt Rentals today, Northwest 27th, just a quarter mile east of I-75. For more information, just give us a call, 352-369-9101. 352-369-9101. Sunbelt Rentals. Get it done, rent it now. 352-369-9101.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 5 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. I was watching a video this past weekend, a candidate from another county, running for school board actually in that county, and he laid out his credentials. He said what the job requires. He showed his plan for that job, and I said, now that's the way you do it. And Don Browning has been showing us that ever since we first met Don. He's here again today. This segment is called Bringing Common Sense Your Way. You might know that Don is a U.S. Navy veteran. Thank you again, sir, for your service, and I just love mentioning that. You've got a lot of other credentials, but if I read them all, it would take up all your time. And, of course, Don is running for Marion County Commission District 3. Good morning, Don.
Good morning, and golly, it's good to be with you. This battle against the establishment it's worth it. It's such a privilege to be out there talking, and I wanted to take a minute of my time, and it's going to go fast. And I made a little list of some of the people. Things that are happening. Schools are starting today. I've got a niece and starting high school today. I've got a nephew starting kindergarten today.
Wow.
Bingo. I come from a family of 11 kids, and I've got nieces and nephews all over. Football, golf, horse riding, whatever it is, these young people doing a marvelous job. I just got to give them a shout out. Can't name them all. We don't have time. But the Soapbox Derby, I'm just going to go down a list of where I've been hanging out with these people. Stanton Wearsdale, a cemetery fund, a black cemetery that just needs a lot of work. Everybody calls Stanton Wearsdale and help them with that project down there. It's worthwhile. Sandy Acres Baptist, Sunset Harbor Baptist, a beautiful forum right here, Ocala Business Leaders, an incredible forum of ordinary business people, no government funding. These are people making things work. NAACP had an incredible forum this last week. Beautiful people working really hard. Golly, who do we have here? The Paddock Mall. I'm right here, and I keep looking at the Paddock Mall. The girl selling the Philly steak cheeses. Charlie's
Yes,
Philly steak
yes,
cheese.
yes. Yeah, we
Just
love her.
incredible. I'm going to talk a little bit about sales tax and how we make them all really cook, how we increase wealth in the county. But just a little thing like a tiny hors d'oeuvre they give you when you're walking through. You go on, maybe make a purchase. And I think I'm going to give that. And the sandwich tastes as good as the hors d'oeuvre. Now, how good is that?
That's great.
Just incredible.
That's great.
Anyhow, domestic violence, Dr. Wilson over there, Ron White, Vision for Christ. There's just, Brand New Life. Brand New Life last week popped in. Alexandra Rose, my niece.
Oh, nice.
A couple of times down, I'm a great,
Yeah,
sort of.
yeah.
But Alexandra Rose came in, and so I always wanted to give her a shout out. 75 years from now, she'll look back and say, well, Grandpa, well, I'm not her grandpa, I'm her uncle, great.
Right.
Anyhow, folks, let's just talk about what's in the news, because we like to do that. We like to say, well, what would Don Browning do if he was commissioner today? And golly, what Don Browning, to get there, let's just take a look at the primary election guide.
2 weeks.
Everybody.
2 weeks from tomorrow, right?
2 weeks from tomorrow, there's a front page ad and it costs you a fortune. Folks, this is why the ordinary guy doesn't run.
Yeah,
It costs
yeah.
you a fortune. And often the money has to comes from, remember we talked last week, coming out of Sumter County? Folks, step up. Don't let Sumter County take over our county commission in Marion County. Don't let it happen, folks. You got to step up. This is election time. All right, what are we going to talk about here? Let's talk about, we're talking the Paddock Mall. Okay, here we go.
Uh-huh,
Everybody opens a paper. Everybody takes a paper,
Sure.
read it at some point in time. Let's just take a look. Here's the normal ad you get, and let's just talk about, for a second, this is going to go real quick, but the sales tax thing, the bargain. If you come to Marion County, guess what? You get, on this one, you buy that little sofa deal, $23. Maybe it buys you lunch.
Uh-huh.
$23 less of sales tax only in this county, of the entire region. Only in this county. You got to come to Marion County. Now, what a great, look at every one of these ads. I just calculated. This one you get $10. This one you get $10. This one you get $12, $20. This one you get $10. So my point is, I'm a graduate. My bachelor's was in marketing. Anytime you can get a little edge up, and this is the entire county, a permanent tax holiday on 1%. On 1 cent, which is 16%.
Yeah, right.
All right. Now, where do we go, folks? CEP. We got to go to this SEEP thing. Again, this is the center of everything, and it came up in the big forums we had.
I think you've got everybody talking about this, by the way.
Okay, well, they need to talk about it because it's the power structure. When you're going against, the power structure is lovely. It's what makes, at any given time, you slice across a culture, and you're going to have the business leaders and all that, but you got to make sure government is not funding all this, because as soon as government funds it, the people I talk to, they call it rigged. They call it, well, it's this, everything's set against me. And I don't care if you work for the county, some of the people working for the county right now are on 20 hours. Well, wait a minute, that's not right. If you're gonna work 2 jobs of 20 hours apiece,
right,
I'm not gonna jip you out of your benefits. You're gonna get benefits just like we're a normal human being running,
Sure.
an employer. We're not gonna do 2 20-hour pops. That just isn't gonna cut it. And they're making low money. So wait a minute, we're creating poverty when we do that. CEP annual luncheon. CEP something else, annual luncheon. Well, here we had a debate. The clerk, Marion County clerk, got really upset with me because I brought up the fact that we've got, like, everybody of importance, and I'll just go down the list a little bit. Well, anybody, you can just Google this. Google the list. If you're important, or if you're a head of a city government, or you're a clerk, or you're a constitutional officer, you probably belong. Well, they brought that up. They brought up the prestige of being on the CEP board. Mr. Ellsperman brought it up. So I said, well, I was asked a question about how in the world would you, could you tell us how minorities are hired and what's the process and what's going on in Marion County government? I had to answer. I said, well, Mr. Ellspermann really brought it up best. You're not going to know the answer to that question until the government comes back into the sunshine, comes out of the CEP organization. For example, we have the clerk of the court, our chief financial officer. He is the auditor and the chief financial officer. He has to follow this funding. Well, he can't follow the funding because he's on the board. How in the world do you deal with a state statute 112311? Now, I hate to cite statutes, but it's the law. It's what we live under. When a cop pulls you over, he says, it's under a statute.
Right.
Well, this is a statute, and it says no conflict of interest or the appearance. Well, to any ordinary person, that would be the appearance of a conflict. If I'm on the board and I'm auditing myself, I'm probably going to say, hey, everything's good here. I mean, I voted on it, so how can I vote on both things?
Can you connect the dots real quick between that and the hiring of minorities? I was trying to...
Yes, the hiring of minorities. They wanted to know what the policy is. I said, well, wait a minute. There is no way to know any of this policy.
I see. Okay.
You can't understand the policy because it's gone out of the the county government, and along with it went the logo. Now we put the logo up. The logo is worth probably $5 million a year. If I take the logo off your organization and begin to speak for you, I would have to pay a tidy sum, I would say, if I was to speak for you. Now this group, City of Ocala, City of Bellevue, City of Dunellen, College of Central Florida, Duke Energy. These are all people, you can go down the list. Everybody can read it for themselves. And the clerk of the court. Now, wait a minute. How in the world can you be doing both things? Well, it's called a conflict of interest, and that's why we have statute 112311. It's very simple. So it's so exciting when people say the system is rigged. Now they're coming out of the woodwork, and they say, Don, wow. I love what you're saying. Don, this is incredible. Don, even firemen, even deputies. I can't really talk about this, Don, but guess what? I'm for you. And when I go in that voting booth, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So exciting.
Don, it always goes really fast because you have us spellbound. Give us some information, websites. How do we learn more about you?
VoteDonBrowning.com, DonBrowningCommission.com. You can go to both of those, but even more important than that, get out there and Google whatever you feel is a gyp that is not working out for you. Get in there, dig in. Don Browning is not some fancy guy that has the world by the tail. I'm just an ordinary guy. I Google like anybody else. I dig in, and you gotta be brave. You gotta step up. You're gonna get resistance. They're gonna be upset with you. Okay, fine. And it's gonna be a better place for your effort.
Don Browning, you are bringing common sense our way. Thank you for doing that, and have a great week. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
And for those of you who want to share Don Browning's message, remember we do videotape these interviews, and they will be on Facebook and YouTube by 2 o'clock this afternoon. We'll take a break and be right back. Thank you, Don.
The weather is brought to you by myFWC.com. Safe boating is no accident. Sunshine and some clouds today. There'll be a couple of thunderstorms.